Hey guys, it's your girl Corporate Carolyn, as I like to be called. For anyone wondering why I call myself Corporate Carolyn, it's because it was actually an insult by one of my in-laws a few years back. We were having a heated argument, and I was trying to be diplomatic and get things back to a normal level of discussion, and she said, "You're so corporate, Carolyn," and she meant it as an insult. But I thought about it and I said, hey, I am kind of corporate. And the funny thing is that I feel most comfortable a lot of times in corporate environments or around my close family members. So it's funny that corporate America, although I used to think it was a place that I didn't want to be in for any long period of time, at 59, it's very surprising that I actually enjoy being back in corporate America. And for at least 5 years, I was sitting here in the kitchen working as a technical, or should I say a senior technical writer, and also making some videos in my spare time because I'd never leave the house, usually other than to go to the grocery store or the post office or something. And so the videos were a nice diversion, and I just assumed that I would be working from home in perpetuity. However, Doge and all these other recent events took place, and I find myself commuting to the city for about 3 days a week. And so at first I was literally going to cry about this in March. I was traveling and I was thinking of all the horrible reasons behind why I wouldn't want to commute. And it's funny, I've had the biggest attitude adjustment that I've ever had in my life, and I decided to count my blessings. One, to be thankful that I have a job even, and to be able to do something that I finally enjoy. I mean, I spent like 30 plus years in IT, and all of the times I hated my job. I mean, literally hated it. As a systems analyst, software engineer, business analyst, I could never find the right fit for me. And I remember telling one of my family members that I never ever wanted to be back in the IT arena. And that's one of the reasons why I initially started YouTube, because I wanted to find something different to do so that I could get out of IT for good. And so it's so funny that as I'm talking to you right now, I'm working as a contractor, though, for the same company that I worked for as an employee back in 2012, when I was saying I never ever want to work in IT again. And I never thought I would go back there. I actually converted as a contractor, and the work was horrible. It wasn't suited for or aligned with my gifts. And the people that I worked with, some of them were a little dishonest and a little flaky. So I was really hating life at that time, and I did want a little more freedom, also because my oldest son was getting ready to go off to college, and I wanted to be able to go on college trips with him and things and not really be worried about, the work that I didn't like. But anyway, that was close to home. Whereas this commute that I have is over an hour. But surprisingly, with the attitude adjustment, I don't mind right now. And also, it's fair to note that I'm an empty nester. Before, I was racing home to kids that were hungry, had sports events, had homework and different things. But now I'm, rushing home to my husband, who can heat up the food in the oven. And so the rush isn't as real as it was when I had kids. But back to that job that I had in 2012, that was less than desirable, to put it mildly. Like I said, I never wanted to see their faces again. And then the fact that I'm with the same company now as a contractor is amazing. And I remember back in 2021 where I was working on a project, someone found me on LinkedIn, and I wound up going there, and I did a great job. I was really surprised. I did something that I had never done before, and I said, hey, this is kind of good. And it reminded me of the scripture that talks about how your gifts shall make room for you at the table before great men. And I think that that's finally what started to happen. And in fact, I was at this thing called a significant contributor celebration for the work that I did the person who didn't want to be in IT. And the point of the story, and that's so funny, is the fact that I saw a person from the time that I was there during the horrible time I had back in 2012. And this person, he saw me and he said, "Carolyn, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I'm at the significant contributor celebration." And this is something that a lot of people at the executive level knew about, the project that I had worked on. I didn't know that it was really high profile, but it was. And it helped me to get the job that I have now. And all of my writing and talking skills have just kind of, just come together and set me up in a job that I love. And the funny thing is, even if, like, say, YouTube just blew up, or I wound up getting an opportunity where somebody was finally paying me 7 figures, I don't think I'd want to quit this job immediately. And I'm not thinking about like retirement like I used to, say, well, I just have to kill a few more years and then I can ride off into the sunset. I actually like this. And one of the reasons that I thought to make this video was because I think when I was in Houston back in March, I went to Joel Osteen's church and I got a book that talked about living the dream, and it talked about changing your perspective. And that's what I wound up doing once I found out that 3 days a week in the office wasn't just an option, it was a requirement if I wanted to keep the job. And for the first time in well over 20 years that I'm actually enjoying a job, liking the money, liking the people, I realized that I'd better act like I have good sense. And to also realize that jobs that you like are really hard to come by, and especially at 59, where you're kind of set in your ways and you just want to do what you want to do. And so finally I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm actually having success with it. So I think I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off, and commute and all. It's like about an hour and 20 minutes, even on a good day. And so I found myself the other day, it was raining like cats and dogs. I had a huge umbrella, this huge bag cousin gave me from the Masters. I mean, it's just full of everything, like coffee. I have a thermos where I take my coffee, the mug that I drink from, as well as my shoes and stuff for lunch, books, all sorts of things. The bag is huge. You'll see it. And as I was walking, I was wearing my rain boots, had the umbrella, I'm listening to music in my AirPods, and I realized, I said, this isn't so bad. At first I was really annoyed because I can only work out for an hour, and I should do air quotes, only work out for an hour. That lets you know how touched in the head I am. When I work from home, I get to work out for like maybe about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And so I was worried that I wouldn't get enough exercise. However, between driving to the bus, walking to the bus, walking from the bus to the train, riding the train, then walking from the train a few blocks to my office, as well as increased steps in the office, because walking to the coffee pot in a kitchen is not the same as walking around an office building and stuff. So I'm getting extra steps. The exercise is not a big deal. And so as I was walking, I was like, wow, I've done my devotion on the bus and on the train. Now I'm listening to music. And sometimes it's funny, I even listen to Steve Harvey, the Strawberry Letter, like I used to. But instead, now I'm just walking from the train to the office and I'm listening to music, what's her name? CeCe Winans, and just getting my mind right for the work of the day. And today, I found myself having a good time at work, and I didn't mind the bus, the train, and driving home. And I even laughed when one of my favorite pairs of shoes that I wore, I was like walking like the aisleways were my runway, and then I popped my beautiful shoe that I only get to wear a few times a year because not that many things go with the beautiful pair of shoes, but that's okay. I'll find a shoe repair person to fix it. I wasn't even annoyed. So who am I that's had this major attitude adjustment? I'm in menopause, patience tends to be short, but I find myself at work laughing, joking, thanking the Lord, even in spite of the long commute and not bugging the bosses and the powers that be to put me in an office that's only 20 minutes from my house. So I don't know what's come over me, but I do realize that it's possible to change your perspective, especially when you start counting your blessings. So, for anybody that is not loving their job right now, I just want to encourage you that that doesn't mean that at some point you won't find a job that you love, because 5 years ago I was hating the job that I was in. I couldn't find any good thing about it. I thought being a technical editor would be something that I would enjoy. It seemed like it would be easy enough, but between the people and a contract that was very aggressive in their timetables, it was nothing I wanted to do. And so I was a full-time employee, and I kind of thought I was going to ride that position out until retirement, since I am, almost 60. And then it was undoable after a while. So many things were bad about it that I finally accepted an offer from someone that found me on LinkedIn. So for those of you looking for another job, if you're not on LinkedIn, I would recommend that you do that. And for whatever position you're trying to get, maybe look at someone who's had success in a field that you've been in, and maybe model some of your write-ups after theirs. Or at least find some of the key points that they might have highlighted, and you can do the same, and it can increase your chances. Definitely you want to network with people that you might have known from the past, who might know the kind of work that you do, and a door might open, because a lot of times it is who you know. The job that I have right now that I've been doing for the last 3+ years, it was from someone that I met on that project in 2021, who told my boss now, you don't need someone with a PhD, you just need someone who writes well and who has good people skills. And so that person took a shot. I don't think he thought, and I don't think I thought, that I would make it more than 3 weeks, less more than 3+ years. So in the words of some of the people who are in the church, won't he do it? Yes, he will, and he certainly did. So definitely keep your eyes open. It's never too late for a change. I'm 59 and talking about I want to ride a job till the wheels fall off, and I'm not looking forward to retirement. And I think I would do this even if I had a 7-figure opportunity. I would still try to do the 7-figure opportunity, mind you, but I would still want to do this job if I could. So that's unusual, completely unexpected, but it started with that book by, I think his name is Nick Nielsen. He's maybe the co-pastor or someone at Lakewood Church, the Joel Osteen church that my son and I went to back in March. The book really helped me to adjust my attitude, and I'm so glad I did, because at first I started looking for another job when they said that I'd have to commute in to the city 3 days a week, and I'm so glad I did. So sometimes don't be so quick to jump out of a situation, because you never know what God is up to in that. So hopefully you're in a situation right now that He's doing something wonderful on your behalf, but if it turns out that that's not the case, there are millions of jobs out there. You just got to keep your eyes open. Be strategic as well as use wisdom as you're looking. And when the right opportunity comes for you, be sure to jump out there and start swimming and adjust that attitude. But anyway, I've been up since 4:50. I'm going to take my butt upstairs and get ready for bed, because I have to commute into the city again tomorrow. But guess what? I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you guys will look forward to everything you have going on as well. But until the next time, you guys take care. Bye-bye.